Civil War is the only war fought within our own country and on our own soil. There is a decent chance one of your distant relatives fought in the Civil War for either side or was in some way affected by it. In this speech, I will discuss the main reasons for the war, the difference between the North and the South, and the outcome of the war. The conflict over slavery was arguably the largest problem the two sides had. By the early 1800s, many people in the North found slavery to be wrong and inhumane. According to the book, World Book Millennium 2000, a third of all white families in the South were slave owners. The book also states acts like Compromise of the 1850, which was largely successful in solving the issues. According to the book, the factor that set everything over the edge was the forming of a new Republican Party. Members of the Whig and Democratic Party transitioned over, most notably Abraham Lincoln. Now that you have a general understanding of how the war began, let's discuss the two sides. The North and the South had much different ways of how they made money. According to Britannica, Northerners had invested heavily in expansive and varied transportation systems that included canals, roads, steamboats, and railroads. In contrast, Southerners' economy was based squarely on large farms or plantations, who relied on slave labor to run the farms. The North were led by President Abraham Lincoln, whereas commonly known Union General Ulysses Grant led the army in battle, who later became the President of the United States, while the Southerners were led in battle by General Robert E. Lee and the Confederate President Jefferson Davis. According to Britannica, the North held a large numbers advantage as they had double the troops as the South. While Southern states couldn't match the numbers, they had the advantage of fighting on interior lines and were hoping for some foreign intervention. As you can see, the tension between the North and the South had grown to a boiling point. The only thing left to do was fight. According to Facts America, on April 9, 1865, General Robert E. Lee surrendered his last army to Ulysses Grant at Appomattox Courthouse. This ended a 5-year span of death. For example, the Battle of Gettysburg. Many thought of this battle as the turning point in the war, but it is also the largest and one of the deadliest battles there was. As you can see, I have on the board here. It is said that at the Battle of Gettysburg, the Confederates and the Union, or the United States, were at such a close point, they put the barrels were at least 5 feet away from the other side's face. The book says about 620,000 soldiers died during the Civil War, and the Union lost about 360,000, whereas the Confederates lost about 260,000. While the war had many tragedies, the war paved our country in a different direction. The book, World Book Millennium 2000 states, the Declaration of Independence, which was the birth of our country, states all men were created equal. Yet the United States continued to be the largest slaveholding nation leading up to the Civil War. Soon after the war, Americans worked together and ratified the 13th Amendment to the Constitution, which officially abolished all forms of slavery. Also stated in the book, the United States had seen its worst failure of American democracy to date. The North victory ensured that no state had the right or power to end the Union. This outcome of the war paved the way for the rise of the United States as a global power. In conclusion, in this speech I discussed the main reasons for war, difference between the North and the South, and the outcome of the war. Regardless of whether you had a relative fight in the war, the Civil War has made an impact on how life is lived today throughout the United States. I'll leave you with a picture of the man many feel is responsible for ending the war and slavery, President Abe Lincoln.